Okay, guys, welcome to Blue Lotus. And today we're going to introduce ourselves. So, my name is Chuku.
My name is Crystal.
I'm Christine.
Scott.
And my name is Osi.
So what we're going to do today is sort of an introductory video where you guys get to know us and we get to know each other. So what we're going to do is list our favorite movie, TV show, cartoon, and anime. And it's just going to be like only one. So it's kind of a tough choice, but I'll go ahead and start. For movie, I'm going to go with really hard for me to do this, but just Rush Hour. If I were to have to
Just the first
pick,
one?
if I have to pick one, I think I'll go with two.
Okay.
Oh, Rush Hour
Oh,
2. Okay.
yeah.
I
Okay.
respect that.
Okay.
I like Rush Hour
Interesting.
too.
Yeah, for TV, I'm gonna go with Game of Thrones for now, but like I can't include season 8.
Agreed.
For anime, I'm gonna go with Dragon Ball, and then for cartoon, I'm gonna go with Avatar, obviously. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So yeah, for me, my favorite movie is, and for most of my life has always been the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's hard for me to pick from any because I feel like it switches from time to time. But I'll just say the Lord of the Rings trilogy is my favorite as far as the movie category. TV, I'd have to go with Game of Thrones as well. I can include season 8.
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
not afraid to
Disagreed.
do that.
Yeah.
But
You're
but
so
yeah,
brave.
I'll go for Game of Thrones is my favorite TV. Although that's a category that does switch around a lot more often than the movies. And then as far as favorite cartoon, also Avatar: The Last Airbender for me. And favorite
Of course.
anime has to be Death Note. I've
Dang.
loved Death Note.
Death Note, like the entire thing?
The
Or?
entire thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about this soon.
We'll
Okay.
start.
Interesting,
Okay,
yeah.
so for me, movie, I'm going to have to pick Kingsman. I like the first Kingsman a lot. It has a lot of good action, good story a little bit. I loved it. So that's for movie. Let's see, TV. I'm going to pick Supernatural up to season 6. This one has had an influence on me, not to mention Supernatural is the reason why I became friends with Crystal. So it's
Aw.
like,
Oh, okay.
it really has an
History.
emotional
Yeah.
history towards me and brought me a bunch of cool
Aw.
people. So yeah, unfortunately, after season 6, it's got worse. But I said since this is the final season, I'm gonna watch it because as a heart, tug to my heart a lot. So I'm
So
gonna
loyal.
be loyal.
Love it.
And then as far as favorite cartoons go, I would pick Avatar, but everyone's picking Avatar, so I'm just gonna stick with Young
Oh.
Justice to be a
All
little
right,
bit different.
All right.
Young Justice has had such an influence in terms of writing. I love the mystery. I love the guy who created it, Greg Weisman. He also created Spectacular Spider-Man, which is one of the best TV shows.
So, wait, so when you say Young Justice, do you mean all the seasons so far?
Yeah. I was
Even,
about to
I mean,
ask.
I know season 3, the last part of it wasn't so great. But again, this is not like I'm talking about favorite,
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
best.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
different category when I
Gotcha,
think of
gotcha.
favorite and
That's
best.
true.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
I still enjoy it. And again, it still has emotional impact on me. So there's that. Anime, I was going to choose Death Note or Dragon Ball, but right now I'm going to take Naruto, the
Okay.
original Naruto.
Ooh.
Ooh.
No
Shippuden, I'm sorry. I mean, okay, I'll be honest with Shippuden. I love the moments in Shippuden, but I just feel like the original Naruto is just
Classic.
well-paced, classic, and it's
Damn.
just, I love it so much, especially watching it now, because it's all about trauma. It's about like what happens when you have people who are traumatized during war and how they act, and especially teenagers. And you see, there's a lot of deep lessons that I learned from that show. Not as much as Avatar, because Avatar has a better way of executing those lessons, but Naruto for sure. Like, I can name a lot of quotes that I got from Naruto. So, Naruto, the original. And
Do
then,
you know the quotes in Japanese?
no.
Just kidding, go do it.
But I know one of my favorite lines was from Orochimaru, who said, "There's no meaning to life, but there's meaning to death."
Ooh.
That's deep, dude.
Ooh.
That's deep.
Yeah. So,
We'll unpack that later, Chuku.
yeah.
I know, kind of morbid right
Alright.
here.
Okay. So I didn't know we were only doing one, and it's clear from just looking at my list that movies is my longest list. It's my favorite medium. And my favorite type of movies are like really stylized ones. So I have directors on my list from like Tarantino to Wes Anderson But one movie I can like watch over and over again is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Mm.
I just love the music in it. It's highly quotable. I can quote it all the time and just like laugh at myself and like, I just
Yeah.
love it.
And we will have a separate video where we go deeper into our like top 5 for each of these
Oh
categories.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
have more than 5, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a hard one to narrow down to. I can talk about my other ones on the list for so long. And then just moving on to television, I also put Game of Thrones. I really loved it. I'm not like everyone else. I didn't follow it since the beginning. I actually crammed up until the last day
Yeah, I remember.
before
Yeah.
season 1
When
to
we
get
watched
all
it
the
together.
seasons in. So I was
I
watching
mean,
maybe
before season 8.
Yeah, before
yeah,
season
before
8, yeah.
season 8. So I was watching
Yeah.
like 2 to
Episode
3
1.
episodes
Yeah.
per night, and like I got like easily obsessed. Um, but I didn't like the last season. It's a given. Favorite anime? I'm gonna go with Samurai Champloo. I'm a
Ooh.
fan of like old animes and classics, and I'm a fan of music. I really like the Nujabes productions.
Oh my God.
In the intro and the rest of the episodes. And for favorite cartoon, everyone's going like really like plot heavy cartoons. I was gonna say SpongeBob SquarePants. But
No,
but
that's
there's-
great. That's
no,
great.
great.
I love
Whatever,
SpongeBob.
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of
Everyone
SpongeBob.
loves
Yeah.
You know
SpongeBob.
what? Fuck
Not
it.
me.
SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean,
Okay.
which one of these other cartoons had full length movies and
Yeah.
has one coming out
That
soon?
is true.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's a
I'm gonna
great
stick
point.
with it, even though I had
They
another good
still
one.
have movies coming out.
Yeah.
I would have said I would have said Justice League cartoon, but you know what? I'm gonna stick with SpongeBob because it's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
know what?
it's just
Stay in your truth, okay?
it's a font of memes, and I love it.
Oh, SpongeBob. Yeah.
Okay, so that's me.
All right. So for my favorite movie, it's going to have to be Harry Potter. All of the Harry Potter movies, including the books. I still rewatch them to this day and reread them. And then TV show, I would have to say it'll be The League. Would be a little bit different. It's a comedy TV show. It's about fantasy football. And although I know nothing about fantasy football, it's pretty hilarious. And you don't have to know anything to watch it. Cartoon show, I'm gonna have to say Rick and Morty. Like it has pretty good humor. I just put it on in the background and just watch it or listen to it all day. So that's definitely one of them. And anime, I'm gonna go off the books too. It has yet to be an anime, and all you webtoon readers will know what I'm talking
Okay.
about. It's called Tower of God, and dare I say, it might be better than Naruto.
Wait, is it
Yeah.
going to be an anime?
Yes, it's actually
Okay.
releasing this
You know
year, I
what?
think, in April.
I
It
mean,
counts. I'll give it
We'll
to
see.
you.
We'll see. We'll see if it has
Yeah.
an
Yeah, we
impact.
could discuss this.
Will it impact.
But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So what we're gonna do now is unpack
Roast
that a
each
little
other.
bit. we could do that too.
Uh-huh.
So any comments, we can explain. For instance, no, we're not gonna ask you why you like season 8.
We already did that.
We're already safe to
Yeah,
say
we
we're the
already did.
elephant
You
in
don't
the
have to
room.
go
We're already
there.
thinking
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
But basically,
If you're curious, find that video.
yeah, basically just express yourselves in why you liked what you like, and we can ask each other questions, get to know each other a bit more in terms of what we like. I think one thing we should also mention is what our favorite genres are, because I think
Okay.
that impacts a lot of what makes the thing our favorite. Interestingly
Sure.
enough, like for me, I think action adventure is my favorite genre, but like I love Jackie Chan movies,
Mhm.
and what he does best is
Hmm.
action comedy.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's like a close runner up in terms of favorite genres for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that for me, so my selections, like for example, let's take my favorite movie being Lord of the Rings. It kind of encompasses like everything that I love about entertainment and what I like in my entertainment and what I prefer to see. And that includes like grand storylines, that includes high stakes, that includes just huge set pieces. All of that stuff it gives an epic feel to specifically the Lord of the Rings, but like that's what I connect to and what I enjoy seeing in so many of in a lot of different things that I have on my lists. And so With that being said, I think that my favorite genre, I have always gone fantasy adventure, like fantasy. But the thing is that it's so hard to do fantasy like good in modern times. So there hasn't been a lot of great fantasy since Lord of the Rings. But I'll say that when it's done well, that's my favorite
Yeah.
genre.
That's why you gotta read some fantasy books, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
That's true.
I used to read
I
a
got
lot
a-
of
Super
fantasy
detailed.
books,
Yeah, I got a
but
new recommendation for you. It's called the Stormlight Archive.
interesting.
I think
Oh.
it's my favorite like fantasy fiction series so far.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
I'll keep my eye out.
Brandon Sanderson?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
The next video will be on books.
That'll be our thing. Yeah, so for me, I go based off, I guess, by upbringing. So like I grew up watching a lot of superheroes and anime. So because of that, I tend to like things that are more action, comedy, or thriller, those types of fantasies, stuff like that. Like I tend to go leaning towards that. Although my favorite movie, though, like some of my favorite movies, even though I mentioned Kingsman was one, another favorite movie I had was Gone Girl, which that one's a little bit more. I mean, it has thriller and it has comedy,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
more, not less on the action base. But for the most part, what always gets me like appealing, like for example, the last anime movie I watched, or should I say Chinese anime I watched, which is The Legend of He. Again, I only watch it because I saw some dope action scenes. I was like, oh my
Mhm.
God, this looks pretty cool. I gotta check it out. So action will always get me excited and it will get me intrigued. And when it's done right, especially in Kingsman's case, it's like I can rewatch it for hours and hours and be like, oh my God, they did this, they did that. So it's inspiring for me.
Yeah, I guess for movies, I love all kinds of movies. But the ones that really stick with me are the ones that have a lot of style. That's not to say that I like style over substance, but there are plenty of directors that have lots of style. Like, I liked Gone Girl a lot, and you bringing it up reminds me of how cool that movie was and
Yeah.
how stylized of a thriller it was. And that's one of my favorite genres too, is like thrillers, I like horrors, and I love action adventures as well. And fantasy too. Lord of the Rings is one that I enjoy a lot. But the reason I chose Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is because, I mean, it has all those elements. It's like a superhero movie in the way
Yeah.
that it is styled like a comic book. It
Mhm.
has awesome fight sequences, in my opinion. It has great music that I can just listen to Spotify randomly and just enjoy it. And that is what stuck with me. But I like a lot of movies where you can kind of get a piece of the director in them and enjoy it, where it's like they have really good taste in music, or you can tell where they got their inspirations from in the movie, and it's like an homage to other great movies. And that's something that I like to see in films. As far as like television and all that, I guess I spend all my time on movies, and like I really like I find it hard to commit to shows, which is why I crammed Game of Thrones. But because
that's
that
understandable.
one
Yeah.
because that one was like cinematic quality to me, I couldn't wait to get to the next episode, and I really
That's
enjoyed
true.
it because
Yeah.
I got really tired of all the CW shows really quickly after I was finished with Supernatural, because I love Supernatural so much, but even I was like, oh man, this is shit. Like
Yeah.
after a while, and then it just kind of hurt me, so I didn't watch a lot of television
Yeah.
after that. But Game of Thrones kind of restored my faith in the quality of television. There's a lot of good cinematic television out there right now.
Yeah, Breaking Bad's one of them.
I think I kind of already yeah, Breaking Bad. I mean, Netflix has a lot of great, highly produced shows. HBO is still killing it. I mean, I think I saw Chernobyl, and that one was really good.
Oh,
That one,
Wow.
the tension in that one really got
Okay,
me.
yeah.
I actually got scared in that
and
one.
Oh, that's another genre I like, is like disaster. For some reason, I just fucking love disaster films and disaster shows, because it's like,
You're
what
getting
are we
prepared.
gonna do? How am I gonna
You're getting
survive
prepared.
in case of like
Oh, man.
radioactivity, zombies?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm
Yeah,
kinda
weirdly enough, I feel like I
prepared.
haven't watched too many disaster films. The one that comes to mind when I was a kid is The Day After Tomorrow.
Mm.
You guys
Yeah.
remember that
Oh
one?
yes,
Yeah.
I do.
They used to show that
That
on TV all
counts.
the time.
Yeah.
they
No,
always do.
they're great. It's like, what's gonna happen to them? And it's
Yeah.
like, probably die.
Every
but
disaster.
you know what? I can't look away. It's like a
Guys,
train
don't
wreck.
go out there. Everyone goes out.
Yeah.
The first one that goes out dies, obviously.
And then it's like, that's what you don't do. And now we all know.
Now we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean, SpongeBob's a given. We already went into it.
Yeah, I love
Uh,
SpongeBob.
Samurai
SpongeBob.
Champloo. undeniable. It's like the music in there and
Oh
the
yeah, I love the
action.
music.
You get really attached to the characters. I know I did. I really cared for them at the end, and I
Wait,
wanted
so in
to
terms
see
of
where
a
it was
ge-
gonna go.
in terms of a genre, is there one that you prefer over others, or are you sort of just like, if it's good, it's good?
For movies, I just like getting surprised. I like when a movie leaves with me, like when I
Mm.
can't stop thinking about
Oh
it.
yes.
But I mean, if we're talking about a movie that I'll enjoy, even if it's trash, it's like I do like thrillers and horrors a lot.
Yes.
Those I'll always kind of have an interest in if I see like a
Yeah.
new trailer
Horror,
or
yeah.
something.
Horror is something I can't
Horror,
Yeah.
do.
horror's
Yeah.
like I get really scared really easily, but I love it. I don't know, it's like a roller coaster to me. But I
Horrors
guess,
always make me laugh.
yeah, yeah, that too. It's kind of funny. But I guess thrillers
yeah.
more so when
Yeah,
it's not so
thrillers.
much like demonic, but kind of like I know this is kind of like a subgroup of thrillers, but like home invasion movies are kind of fun because
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
it's like Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like they're surviving.
Most of them are not like Home Alone.
Yeah, a lot of them are though.
No.
I watched. I,
I don't
mean,
know which
I
ones
could-
you're watching.
Not in terms of thriller.
Hush, Get Out, Halloween.
Oh my God,
I don't
Get
know.
Out.
They're like running away
Okay.
from the bad guy and then
Sure.
fighting with like paint cans and
No,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
No,
You know
I think
it's
it's
true.
That's not-
different.
that's
It's
not
like Home
family-friendly
Alone.
Macaulay Culkin.
What do you-
Christmas movie.
What do you think they were doing? Joe Pesci was invading that kid's house and trying to kill him.
Yeah,
Oh my
but it's
God.
fun for kids because nothing bad
know
is
what?
happening.
I would go as far as to say Home Alone is a thriller.
Yeah.
The only thrilling part of Home Alone is when he steps on the nail. That's it.
You need to rewatch that movie.
No, I love that
Macaulay
movie.
Culkin in
I
his
love that
wheelhouse.
movie,
He
but
almost
it's
killed
not
them.
a thriller.
Paint cans,
I
kerosene
know.
soaked rope,
But it's like when you have
This is a family movie.
toilets.
Thrillers are rarely family movies.
Yeah, it's
if
like-
not like
when you
None
have
of
a
us.
piano
It has thriller.
fall on Jerry in Tom and Jerry. It's like it's violent, but it's childish because of the way that they're doing it.
Thrillers have Home Alone elements.
Okay.
I
But
would
yeah,
say the
I get your point.
suspense is from like
You love
start
suspense and thriller.
to start to end.
I do.
for
I like
thrillers.
tension too. It doesn't
Tension,
exactly
yeah.
have to be all action all the time. I
Yeah.
think I've watched a lot of movies this year where the tension comes from other things than
Mhm.
like life or death things. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's good.
I would say for my genre, I would have to agree with Chuku. Like I grew up watching a lot of anime, a lot of action and adventure, and anime is probably like the first thing I started off with. I think like Asian culture is really big on that.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why. And in terms of genre, I would have to, say like fantasy, adventure, Lord of the Rings and whatnot. And to this day I still watch, a shit ton of anime. And it's not to say that I don't like deep movies, because there are a ton of, fantasy action adventures that really hit you and that really impact you on an emotional level. And that's something that, I could always connect with and I would always appreciate in a movie. And I guess in terms of, my favorite movie, which was Harry Potter, easily fantasy action, it's all there. And yeah, that's like, I think it's also because like you can't replicate that in real life.
Yeah.
And it's almost like an
Yeah.
escape from reality where
Yeah,
you want
I
it to be
agree.
true.
Yeah.
Like you want that shit to happen. You wish magic was real and whatnot.
Yeah, and
like,
that's one of
Yeah.
those series that I think will survive the test of time.
Yeah.
Like even the ones near the end
'Cause
are
it's like
rewatchable
new.
and they're good.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
but
fresh,
even-
new,
That one
On-
matured and it transformed as we matured and transformed.
Yeah, we grew
Like,
up with that.
Yeah,
So
it was a good series.
And along those lines of like you like wanting it to be true, like as a kid, one of my favorites was the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like that classic, like these normal, regular kids living in a normal world, like slip into this magical world. And it was just like,
yeah.
Did you try like
I
looking in your
did.
closet?
I was in
Yeah.
my closet. I played hide and seek every time I'd go to
Yeah.
the wardrobe and be like, maybe today's the day.
I mean, to that
Yeah.
point, like, I really wish we could do like incantations
Yeah.
and like we could do spells.
I think we all
There are
tried
wizards.
to like, yeah.
There like would be a tank
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
some shit. You know
Try to
what I
fire
mean?
energy
I
balls
think we
sometimes.
tried to-
Dragon Ball.
All of us
Yeah.
tried to
That
like
video
see
of
We
the
tried to
guy
bend the
doing-
elements,
Trying to go Super Saiyan.
I
Yes.
think we all did try to like move things with our minds.
Yeah.
and,
Stuff like
and
that.
like see if we can control water droplets
Yeah.
on the window.
I think that's why it's so
Yeah,
like
use the force.
it's so
Yeah.
I guess like crazy to me because I do wish it was true and I like
Yeah.
I feel like that type of genre would never be old.
Yeah.
Like there's always something new someone can think about
yeah.
that they can envision and make it happen through like movie or cinematography
Yeah.
or whatnot. And like it's different from watching like a rom-com or like
Yeah.
watching like a documentary or something, because that's shit that can happen versus stuff that like maybe can happen in another dimension, you know?
Yeah. I think what's interesting about fantasy is that, well, one, if it's done right, it's timeless.
Yeah.
So that's number one. But
Yeah.
more importantly, it brings up a lot of questions. Like, if you have godlike powers, what would you do? And it brings
Yeah.
up that like moral debate. And I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it stand out. Because a lot of these like rom comedies or stuff, it's like, oh, just do this. Just don't date that person.
Yeah.
But like action or fantasy, it's like, okay, what if you guys are attached to each other? What if you have to
Mhm.
live with each other, and
The
if you don't,
psyche
you're
comes
dead?
in.
Yeah.
Now you have to be forced to.
And fantasy also, like, it kind of is hand in hand with science. So there's a lot of times where it's super, super like analytical and super in depth because that's how, you know, magic comes to life through science.
Yeah.
Science fiction.
Yeah.
Shouts out to science fiction. That's another genre
that's
that
another good
I
one.
Yeah.
really
Good
like
one.
because a lot of science fictions
Hell
are
yeah.
thrillers. There are a lot of
Yeah.
science fiction thrillers that are really great that
Yeah.
I
Ex
watched.
Machina.
Black
Ex
Mirror.
Machina.
Ready Player One is
what's-
not a thriller,
what's the
but
one
it
with
is
Natalie
sciencey.
Portman? I keep wanting to say it's Parasite, but it's not.
The one with Natalie Portman where she's like an alien or something.
Mm,
I don't know.
I'll
if
think
I'm
about
saying
it
the thing
later.
right.
But I like that you went there because it's like with science fiction and fantasy, it kind of like opens the doors
Mhm.
of your mind because a lot of science back when there was like old timey scientists, you know, those guys were kind of like, you know, they would come up with theories and ideas and they would be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's crazy, but it's like true.
Mhm.
If your mind could go there and then if we could like do more research on some of this stuff, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like what can we get to discover? And that, you know, that's
Like
really cool.
electricity was probably considered magic, like back in the day.
Yeah,
You
there's-
know what I
and
mean?
what I'm trying to say is-
lightning.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is like
That was from the gods.
there are less barriers, which
Yeah.
means that also it's like, especially now, like these kinds of movies can be more diverse because we don't have those same like
Mhm.
types of conventions where it's like we're trying to be closed-minded. With fantasy and science fiction, I mean, we can see a lot of different characters and that, you know, we're not confined to old stereotypes and all that.
Yeah. And as we progress through like life and through like years of technology and whatever it may be, like fantasy will probably get like realer and realer by the day.
Whoa,
So I think that'd be dope.
this is reminding me of Black Mirror, which I'm surprised none of us said.
I did.
You did?
He
I
just
said it
mentioned
recently
like
when you were
a
talking about
couple minutes
fantasy.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah.
He did.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, he just said Black Mirror.
He said,
didn't-
like,
we
in
didn't really talk
science
about
fiction.
it.
Okay, talk
Oh,
about
okay.
it. Fine,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I mean, we're not gonna.
That's
like,
just a
get
good
into depth or anything.
That's just a
but-
good example of like
Yeah.
that kind of philosophical
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
science fiction fantasy.
Do you
debate.
guys? Has everyone here watched Black Mirror?
I have.
Yes.
I only watched like maybe 2 episodes.
That was in my top
Ashamed.
five.
I'm ashamed.
No, you don't have to be ashamed. I haven't watched Lord of the Rings, so.
What in the
Don't
world?
worry.
You
I've
should
only
be
watched
ashamed.
You only watched one?
He's walked out. And we're done.
Yep.
It's not true.
Wait, no. I'm really surprised. Wait, Scott, none of them? You've never seen any of them?
Well, I've seen like when it was on the TV. I would see
No.
like.
How could you know?
No, no,
That
no,
just
no.
means you
No, no,
haven't
no,
watched it.
Yeah.
No,
that's,
just watch it. You'll fall in love.
Okay, I haven't actively tried to. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not disinterested or uninterested. I'm like, I just haven't like.
Been inspired.
Give your
Yeah,
give yourself
But
the
OC,
time.
OC,
Yeah.
OC is like giving me some inspiration.
Same with Harry Potter.
No,
That's
give
another
yourself
one.
the
I
time to watch the
yeah, you haven't
supercut.
watched Harry Potter?
The supercut.
Yeah, watch
The
The
director's
daggers
cut?
are coming to me right now. You just hit me with
Exactly.
another
That's
one.
in my list of
Yo, I
things
was
to
literally
watch.
about to just purchase a like DVD box set of the extended cut of the Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
yo, like we.
I was like shopping around. and I was
Marathon.
like,
We need a marathon
Because
this.
Watch it.
I had the three DVDs already individually,
Oh.
but the last time I tried to watch the first one, it was skipping all over the place. So
Wow.
I gotta get
Whack.
another one.
This is integral to our friendship and to Blue Lotus,
this-
guys.
Have you seen them all?
Okay.
Christine, have you seen them all?
Yes.
Good. I was
Yeah,
about to
this
say,
is what we need to know about each other.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
no, I
Like,
think
We're
all-
getting to know each other now.
Wait, yeah, I think we should all watch it because the world building is insane. I think you'll learn a lot about like movies
Yeah.
from watching those
It's crazy.
movies.
You
It's
know
the
what?
best
Yeah.
prologue. It's one of them. I can't even. okay, I'm not gonna say it's the best because I'm not thinking of all of them, but the prologue, just like setting up the world, is like the best, one of the best.
How many of y'all have seen like Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Of course
I
I've
have.
seen
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic.
I'm surprised no one put
Lord of
Baby
the Rings
Driver
is
on
like
it.
classic,
Baby Driver's a
classic.
good one.
Yeah, it is.
But I
Baby
do
Driver.
have to say, guys, you know, with coronavirus and whatnot, the world's gonna end. We have to watch it now. We had to start it now.
We're social distancing. We're self quarantining. I think it's the right time.
Yeah,
Which
2
is-
and 3 are on Netflix right now. So
Really?
yeah,
Wait,
Oh, shoot.
for
Why
Lord of the
not
Rings.
one?
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
Why not one? That's
They want you
weird.
to
one
buy
was
it.
on Netflix like a year ago. So now 2 and 3.
I'm gonna
are on
do that,
Netflix.
like,
Whatever.
right now after
I'll
this.
watch it when I.
Has everyone here watched Rush Hour?
Yes,
Oh,
Yes.
all of them.
I'm offended you even asked.
I know.
What the fuck?
I am you.
Second question.
That was another one of those
Yeah.
childhood movies.
Yeah.
That's Rush Hour 3.
Wait,
Yeah.
we
I love
gotta,
all Rush
Okay.
Hour.
gotta make sure. You guys should watch some of my favorite Jackie Chan movies. I know they're Cantonese, but like,
They're good though.
yeah.
I love old Jackie Chan movies. I've seen like one of my favorites were like Drunken Master,
Oh my
and
god.
then No
Ooh.
More Mr. Nice Guy, Super Cop. I have those on VHS at my house, and I love them.
Have you
I
guys
remember-
watched like the old Jet Li movies too?
Oh yes.
I don't
They're
remember.
super
ones?
good. You know, I
have
can't put it on the
those.
top of my head, but I grew up with one like as a kid,
I
and
know.
also to
I
put
know.
in context.
I remember the Romeo and Juliet one.
No, Romeo Must
The
Die.
Romeo Must Die, that's one.
That's the one that had like DMX
I
and
love.
Aaliyah.
Yes, that's why I remember that for sure.
And then it had, it had like,
remember
if
that
at first you don't succeed, like, Timbaland production. Hell
I don't know.
yeah.
I remember it because it had one of my favorite lines where he's like, "I'm not your bitch, you're my bitch," and then everyone starts fighting. And I was like, "This is amazing."
Oh, that's a good. You're like, yeah. I feel like that's another genre maybe we all like is like kung fu movies, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Like,
It goes back to
on my
action
list-
comedy.
On my
Ip Man.
list is Kung Fu Hustle, which is a comedy
Hell
kung
yeah.
fu movie. But
Yeah.
these are all I think we like
Kung Fu
kung
Mahjong's
fu
another
comedy,
one.
kung fu
Comedy,
comedy.
yeah.
I mean, I love Jackie Chan too. Just like
Yeah.
anything that
Same.
he put him in.
And the cartoon
Yeah.
version. with
Jackie
his-
Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
Hiya!
Wait, the old movies and the old VHSs are also so great because Jackie Chan used to do all his own stunts. He probably still does. But
Yeah, a
maybe
little
not
bit.
as
I mean,
much.
not
He's
anymore. He's
super
super
old,
old now.
though.
Okay,
Yeah.
just kidding.
He doesn't
He's
do
like,
all
oh,
his own
no.
stunts
But-
anymore.
I think that's why he doesn't do them anymore because he would get like super hurt doing those
Yeah.
Yeah,
stunts.
he's
Like
broken
sometimes,
so many bones.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
watching it too, I'm just like my like jaw would drop because I'm just like, why did they let him do that? And like he would just use like crazy props. I don't know why, but like they used a lot of those like carts in supermarkets, and he did a lot of stunts with those. For
I
some
remember
reason.
those. Like he would be jumping into
He would
the
just,
shopping
like-
cart.
He would just
and
like
stuff.
fall on them and slam his hands with that. Like I don't know. He was crazy.
Okay, yeah. So that was basically most of our favorite stuff. We talked about our favorite genre, favorite movies, favorite TV shows, favorite anime, favorite cartoon. We didn't talk about each of them in depth, but we will in a separate video for each category because there is way too much to talk about in one video.
Yeah, it's like we're too passionate
We
about
just
this.
love things too much.
Yeah.
No, but you guys get the general idea of what we like now. So
Yeah.
that was the point
Yeah.
of the
And if
video.
you do have any questions or want us to like go more in depth on a certain topic or certain show that we like, feel free to just leave it in the comments below.
Yeah, don't be surprised if one of these shows is roast or part of the hot topics.
Oh yeah, we're ready to
Don't
roast
tell 'em
someone.
that. Just be surprised.